There sure are a lot of dogs out this evening. Perhaps they can assist me in a song.
Hello? I don't think you heard a thing that I said, but hello. Welcome to the stream. Your boy Sporp at it again. This is where we're at. So I have my Visual Studio Code loaded up here, and I have made 3D representations of the various components of my board game. So we have my player mat here, and all these assets are the latest asset. We got the main rules mat in the center here. We have our 4 player mats with maxed out factories and batteries and the donation cups. That's pretty. That's really pretty. I like that. So this is how the game looks, but next we're gonna have to start jumping into how the game functions. So I think on top of the board itself, we're gonna need some sort of game controller, or we can just consider this our game controller. Probably will make things easier. So I got my rules mat. What I really want to see is my board 2D. So we have all this stuff. And so the app itself is what keeps track of who's playing, who's going. Oh, hello. Let's see. Google Translate. Hello to you too. Oh, how do you say hello in Russian? I love that we keep getting so many fun people. Privet?
Привет.
Privet. Privet. I am 0 parts Russian. But it's fun to have you along. What we're doing here today is I'm turning a board game of mine into a web app. So this will be a website that we can then interact with. And I'm just going to cheat for the time being. I have all these props. Hello, Enchanted. Welcome back to the stream. Good to have you. I saw that you posted some progress in the Discord, so we're going to check that out in a little bit. But congrats on making some progress on your game. So these are all my props, and I'm going to inject all of these into my board 3D object. So we got num players, turn tracker, and so we have these player mats here. And I'm going to take the same, playing some Fortnite. Nice. Good stuff. So if we have 4 players, then we're going to play with 4. Otherwise, we're going to play with 3. And num players, where are you? Num players. So now, what should have happened when I set this number to 3 is only 3 boards should exist, and they do. All right. I'll bump it up to 4, and there's our 4th board. Nice. So I have all 6 of my factories and batteries, but realistically, the player mats start with 0 of either. Well, 2 factories and 0 batteries. I'll just put 1 for now, just so that we have a visual representation of the basic starter of the game. And what we need to do, so we have set number batteries, set number factories. We need to think of a good way to control all this information, because we're going to be sending packets of data between our backend and the client. And I haven't figured out that data structure yet. But once we start to massage that data structure, we can start communicating back and forth with the server which will be the source of truth for the clients that communicate with our main server, which, like I said, is our source of truth. I'm good. Welcome to the chat. I sent an image of my checklisting. All right, we'll check that out in a sec. How do I say I am well, how are you in Russian?
У меня все в порядке. Как вы?
I love Google Translate. All right, we have a breather, so let's check out that. Let's check out the stuff that you've been posting, Enchanted. So working on the health space destruction system. Okay. All right, we do have a mouse follow. Nice. Cool, and you lose pieces of your ship. That's awesome. Nice. Fix health system, game over screen, skins. You can use to unlock it. All right. You're making some good progress, Enchanted. I like to see it. 444477.
Рад слышать. Добро пожаловать на стрим.
I'm good. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I would love to see that. Feel free to knock on a sporp skin there. That would be very fun. All right, let's pop back on that ambience. Chill it out. Nice. All right, so I need some sort of source of truth and a web socket. What the fuck is that? How do I say bruh in Russian?
Братан.
.447. That better not be what I think it is. Sporp skin is just my profile picture. Sick. Oh, jeez. What is right? All right, cool. So, let's go back to the design doc. What do we really want to see here? So, to do, and we'll have a done pile down here. Establish turn order at the start of the game. Display news cards, flip. Okay. I'm old.
Я стар.
Я стар.
Я очень стар по интернет-годам.
I'm very old in internet years. Okay. How much is what?
Не уверен, что понимаю вопрос.
This has been very fun. I've had conversations with a couple different people in Google Translate. Portuguese and now Russian. Sick. So, I have my buttons down here. And now I want to add my 4 buttons down here. Board 2D. Where'd you go? Board 2D. And I have my player mats. And I have these end turn buttons. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy my end turn button, which will just trigger advanced timeline with the player ID, which realistically, could I just call advanced timeline? Let's find out. So I'll have 4 of these. 1, 2, 3. And then my player IDs, which I don't have as of yet. So this will just be 1, 2, 3, and 4, which should just pop up. End turn is not defined. How about advanced timeline? And I'll also drop in and I'm going to add a line break here. Just so these show up on 2 different things. And then I want on my board 2D, I have this bit up here, which will keep track of my essentially all the nice, there we go. I think this needs to go above the canvas. It's taking up a bit too much room. And since this is showing up on both, I could just have this here. Cool. Nice. Player 1's turn. The rules of this game is it is a competitive cooperative style game. It's similar to Seven Wonders or Catan if you've ever played those. Every turn a news card is flipped, your factories make energy, and then you have to build up your own infrastructure, so build up your own factories and batteries and gain some popularity, and then donate energy. And if you look overhead here, we have energy requirements here that go 12, 25, 40, 60. And what these do is they tell you how much energy you all have to collectively donate. So you all have to work up to these numbers here. If you hit the numbers, you're all good. If you don't hit the numbers, carbon makes up the difference, which is going to be essentially coal-looking things that show up in here. If you run out of carbon, game over, everyone loses. At the very end of the game, whoever donated the most energy to keep the world running, that person wins. Random, good to see you again in chat. The Sporp supremacy reigns supreme, as always. Lovely to have you in chat, Random. What we're doing right now is I'm testing. I might have to start opening this up to a WebSocket soon. But what I'm doing here is I am starting to tweak how to translate the board game rules, which are they're granular, but they're also they take advantage of a bunch of real world concepts that we're going to have to break down and establish into code. Seasons, yes. So, the last year of Carbon, name of the game, right up here, takes place over the course of 1 calendar year. I can actually probably pop these two into the same line, save a little bit of space. I guess it gets rid of white space. Month 1, season spring. So you have to, every season, generate collectively, if you're playing a 4-player game, first in spring, you got to generate 12 energy, then 25, then 40, then 60. And this nav button I can actually move down. Oh, I guess that is stuck in the route. But what I could do is I can... No, it's not part of the canvas. What the heck? Alright. Should I just pop these up top? Might look better. So right now this canvas is getting kind of overblown. Yeah. That's better. This way we can just see everything for now. We got a nav and then we got our end turn buttons here. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to have simple ways of changing the game's state based off of whose turn it is. So it starts out players 1's turn, month 1, season 1, season requirement 12. Player 1's gonna end their turn, then player 2, then player 4. Alright, doesn't look like it's liking that. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna copy. This is very script kiddie-y. I'm at 2D. We're gonna advance the timeline here. Because I don't think it likes that I'm calling this directly. So we'll pop this up here, advanced timeline, end turn. So we're going to replace all these with end turn. Now hopefully, player ID is not defined. End turn E. Oh, is it E? Event value button. This dot value. Okay. Let's try this. We're gonna say E dot prevent default, and then we're gonna have a value here. You know what? That's TBD. I'm thinking about putting it out for free. Expected an assignment function 26. I'm thinking about releasing this for free initially so that we can get some playtesting in. And honestly, I'm keen on letting my viewers get into this for free to start testing it out and then expanding to something paid later. Ideally, this will just be an advertising vehicle for my physical copies of my game. And then I could make this as cheap as possible. But realistically, it'd probably be like $1 a month or something. Something small. Alright, cannot read value. Interesting. This value. Alright, let's just say 1, 2, 3. This is very hacky. Okay. And turn should be calling advanced timeline here. Let's find out if this is actually doing anything. Console.log. Amazing one line of code right there. Tells you what's happening, and when you click stuff, each child should have a unique create. Okay, well, we don't need that for now. Now what should be happening is when I click a button, 1, player attempted to play out of order. What does that mean? Right. Doi. Now, who can tell me what I did wrong here? Notice how this value doesn't match up with this player? What's happening is arrays in coding languages start at the 0th element, not the first. So if I have an array, something that looks like let me get this. Something that looks like this. This is an array. And what arrays are, is there a way to store information in a sensible way so that you can, quote unquote, iterate through the information in order to receive that which you want to get. So common uses of arrays are for holding integers. A 3D array, aka a matrix, is used for storing values in sort of a 3D space. It's a huge, huge subject, but more or less it is pointing to a data structure in your memory, and then the location is an offset to the data structure pointer. So you access data at a specific point in your data. We'll get there in one sec. All I want to do is make sure that these turn things work after I save it, and then we'll check that out. So I clear this, I hit 1, there we go. That looks good. Player 2 turn, player 3, player 4, player 5. All right, cool. We're advancing the timeline. Cool. Sick. How you doing, Hazel? Welcome to the stream. We are coding, and we're turning a board game that I made with some friends of mine into a web app. And we're also showing off in the Discord. We got some work done by some of our community members here. Enchanted, let's check out. Okay, Sporp. Sporp code. Sporp launched. Nice. Good stuff. You can take a minute of mine, Hazel, but I swear to Christ, if you try to sell me channel artwork, I'm going to ban you instantly. You'll be banned so quickly. I have zero interest in purchasing anything at this moment in time. I'm a broke boy. Ugh, and this is not a budgetary issue. It's an I'm not buying squat. Oh, jeez. All right. And slash ban. Adios. For those of you who survived the band wave, consider yourselves lucky, but your days are numbered. Why does it say I'm playing Minecraft? Let me fix my restream real quick. I'm not playing Minecraft. I am. Where are we at here? All I'm trying to do here. Am I a silly guy? Do I have zero idea? Edit stream info. There we go. Category is not Minecraft. Category is programming. Dyson Sphere program. Oh, what does Thor do? 'Cause I'm that, whatever that is. And I do apologize for taking a sec to pirate. Software. There we go. And his stream is software and game development. That's what I'm looking for. We are software and game development. Nice. Tags. React. NodeJS. We are BoardGame and board games. WebApp. Sick. That should be better. All right. Like I said, we've done the advancement stuff. I'm debating, what are we doing next here? Because we have our camera change. I kind of want to, because what we have here is a canvas that doesn't take up the whole page. What I would like to do is in our main body have 2 columns, or like rows, and I want them to take up more space. See, this is the point where I get tired and then I go play TF2 for a little bit because I don't want to use my big brain. So done. Player action. Buttons for all player actions. Let's just say button for turn advancement. And like I said, we're getting to the point. We're getting to the point where it might start to make sense to break this out into a server and start using a Mongo database. I'm probably gonna use a Mongo database. My Twitch is called Sporp, but we got a 0 instead of an O. Should probably actually pop up a link to that. I'm very much flying by the seat of my pants here, figuring this stuff out. I wanna get to, and if anyone feels like throwing me a Prime sub, I would love to eat Prime rib. Ooh, I like the monkeys. I love me some monkeys. Hello, Enchanted. I'm a dual streamer, and we got a dual viewer. That's wild. What will the world think of next? Oh, I know. I want to be orange. There we go. Yeah. muted YouTube because it's delayed by like 3 seconds. This is no delay. Good. I wonder if restream's part of that. Might be. We got some more memes. Oh, I probably should check if they're okay first. Want to make sure they're TOS friendly. Oh. We could have a meme hour after this. It'd be fun. Okay. So, what I realistically want to do is, let's ignore that to-do list for now. It's a terrible habit of mine. Make a to-do list and then immediately disregard it. So what we're doing here is I want dynamically assign a player ID to each player. We might start having to going back to the drawing board for this. Oh my, we got random. We got a border crosser. Oh my. Welcome to the land of the Twitch. Now people come from all sides right now. That's nuts. Allow client to send actions. Like the path forward I see for this is I make a bunch of buttons that all do certain actions, and then eventually translating those buttons into like 3D functionality. Alright, but realistically, I want to so if I have the structure over here correct, then we are, yeah, we've got a twitcher over here. It's like you're hopping between the US-Canada border. That's so funny. I want to buy PR. PR 241. So I want to then I want to display current player's energy. By, you know what? We're going to mix this up. Because I already have the battery asset available, I want to buy a battery first. So I want to display my current player's energy up here. Which shouldn't be too hard, because I think I've already set up the rails for this. Game state. So I'm going to set this to 4 values of 0. And this is very temporary. Turn tracker +1. I appreciate that, random. I really don't want to be banned. I just started. It'd be funny. It would be funny to get banned within like a week of starting though. Player energy, and then we're gonna have this equated by the turn tracker, and we'll say turn tracker. So we're gonna have one function here, that's game start. This would be a good time to use what's called use effect. So we have something up here called the use state hook, which allows us to store state on our React page. And whenever that state is updated, it will dynamically reload the page. What I want next, and this is going to be the main way that I'm going to connect with external APIs. Allegedly, I've never worked with a socket system before. But one hook you can use is called the use effect hook. And that looks like a function that you inject at the start of your functional component. And we're gonna pop you into here. I guess this needs to be a state as well. Yeah. So we'll put that below the game state, but we'll say const. Same thing here. To use state. And I'm only doing this so that I can keep track of my energy here. And I want to do that because I know this is going to get updated in here, and I want it to show the correct value. Now when I say game start, I want to use a use effect hook. I'm going to snag a use effect from my other project. And use effect looks like this. And let me... Yeah, we'll just go into here. Use effect. It looks like a function. And we can say... do. Have a lambda function here, which makes it an anonymous function. And then after the function, we will have an empty bracket, which means this use effect runs one time. It runs when this component's loaded, never again, unless the component is reloaded. And so what I want to say is the one time that this thing is loaded, I want to set my... Meh. I really don't want to bother with that right now. We'll just set all of these to 2 at the start. And see, this is where things get tricky. And I might start having to use a use context here in order to capture state and send it downstream from the parent component to the child. This is why you use a game engine. All the stuff's been figured out already by people that are much smarter than me. But see, I have all these gross things up here. Actually, if I go back to my... this is now showing up twice, which is completely unnecessary. So I'm actually going to get rid of that on the 2D portion. And everything that I don't need anymore will disappear. So everything but the first and last. This really limits how much information I actually need to send down the pipeline, which is great, because this is gross. Having this many props is not good. And so what I can do instead of having these props sent is I could create a context. Because the issue that I'm dealing with right now is that I have I need a top level state for this whole thing to render from. And this is where we're starting to cross the boundary of what I'm limited in doing with just a client, because I need to incorporate server functionality into this in order to be a sort of game master so that people don't fudge with the data and cheat. And so the set player energy thing, the player energy is also tied into my players' factory and battery numbers, which are essential for being seen globally so that I can render this entire board. So, and unfortunately with the player energy, this will have to get broken up even further down the line because you can get different players' energy during this game. And we're going to call this num factories. Player num factories set player num factories. And I also want player num batteries. And set player num batteries. Everyone starts out with 2 factories. Nobody starts out with any batteries. But I'm just going to give player 1 1 so I can see it. And I need to send these down the line along with player energy. And because this is going to 4 different players, and instead of having to, because if you look at this, I got my end turn button here. I have my advanced timeline button here. I have my player IDs in here, and these come all the way down. And because I'm jumping to 2 different components here, I'm going from the main app to the board component, which is the entirety of the whole thing that you're seeing, and then down to the player mat. Realistically, I should have a context here so that I can access these for every player when I send them down the line. To draw this out, I'm going to go back to Paint. And I will flood you with black. So what I need to do is I have my client. Come on now. Come on now. I guess this only goes color 1. Yep. So I got my client, and I have my server, and then I have my database, which is going to be most likely a MongoDB database. The order of the operations are as follows. Bump this down to like 20. Set initial game state. And then this is sent from the server to the client. Sportskin vid in disk. Heck yeah. Love to see it. We're gonna get that in a sec. Just I don't want to lose my train of thought here. So, and then this will lead to player 1 action, which will return and that will update state if legal move. and then this will continuously progress. And so what I need captured in the state that I'm moving back and forward between the server and my client. That was a little weird. I apologize about that. It seems my computer crashed hard. We're back. Webcam died again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Oof is right. That's right. The stream had a strunk. There we go. Welcome back. That's okay. This is something, if anyone here gets into software development, patience is absolute key. You can't be afraid to lose anything. You just gotta pick up the pieces when things fall apart. And so what I was planning on was state initialized by the server, player 1 legal action with a possible timeout. Thank you. Enchanted, that's very kind. You know, that's one of the craziest things that I've seen about streaming. That happened to me recently. I deleted a file and I couldn't find it. And then I just looked back at my stream and I was able to do it. It's like having the timeline setting on a Mac for your life, but just with visual information. Thank you so much. It's incredibly generous, Enchanted. I really appreciate that. Send to server. Then the server updates the state via WebSocket, updates all clients. Yeah. Got my little computer time machine here. All right. And so the big thing that I wanted, where was my to-do list? Over here. Yeah. Display current player's energy, buy a battery. Those are the two big things that I want to do. In order to do these, I could have a different state per player, which would probably be easiest. So instead of having, see how this is kind of gross and broken up? Instead of having this, I can have a JSON object, or just a regular object here. And I can just say, instead of having player energy, I'm liking this. I'm liking what we're building in the community here. I like that we care for each other. I like that we're polite. I'm not part of the angry hornet's nest part of the internet. That is not my style. I'm here to have a good time with people who care about games. Random. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm actually pop up chat here. Chat, there we go. Right. Oh, let's check out the Discord while we have a sec. Let's show this off on the stream. Actually, I could update Sporpy Hall to... I should. Let me update the server image. I have no idea how to do that. Server settings. There we go. We'll upload an image here real quick. Huzzah. Save. WebApp. Welcome to Sporpy Hall in the studio. And let's check out that game. I love showing off games. I've been on a few game jams. Oh my god. Random, you have a huge meme pile. Let's check this out. Sporp skin activated. There I go, I'm in space. When are we getting a buy one, get a Sporp free deal? Well, I do have stickers. I can put these up for sale somewhere if y'all are interested, and I can ship these out. Limited stock. This is the old font too. This isn't the new font, so these are rare stickers. Going quick. I do appreciate that. I don't want to exclude people, so I do want to avoid rougher languages and the spicier stuff, the spicier side of life, because I think game development should be open for everybody. And some people, crudeness is a limiting factor. So we're going to say player 1 state, set player 1 state. We're going to have a const up here, which is going to be player base state. And that's going to be an object. And all of these are going to be set to initially player base state. And we're going to repeat this for players 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And the player base state is going to have the following. It's going to have... Can I make a fan art channel or art channel? Absolutely. Happy to. Call it fan art. Fan art. Bam. I'm digging these memes. Very fun. We're just gonna call this community games. So if anyone wants to have links to their created games, feel free to be So I have my player states now. And the base state is going to have a couple pieces to it. We're going to have energy, which will be a number for now. Factories. 2 batteries. We're going to say 1, but have a note. So now I have all this great stuff. And eventually we're going to have season cards. Season card hand. Which is going to be a... Oh, right, I need a comma there. Season card hand. Summit card hand. And we're going to have active contracts. Also an array. Failed contract, completed contracts. Which is going to be an array. Failed contracts. That's an array. Active contracts, active awards. We need PR. It's going to be 0. Carbon reserve. It's going to be 0. Carbon footprint. It's going to be 0. Then we have our hands. Check that out once I finish setting up this state. Active awards. 1 awards. One of these. I think that's about it. Oh, player ID. Just going to be -1 at the start so that we don't confuse it with anybody. Okay, cool. So this is the base state of all of our players with all the componentry that they can have. And we need to divvy up this energy between factory energy and battery energy. Factories, batteries, factory energy, battery energy. Also starts at 0. So infrastructure, PR. And the white space isn't necessary, but it helps to divvy up everything that we're seeing, just so we have a better understanding of all the stuff that we have available to us. So any way that you can make your code more readable will immensely be helpful for you in the future state. We have our turn order, and then we have our 4 states. So realistically, the state should be visible the whole way down, not the setter. But I have all this player energy, and what I want this to do is, I guess we'd have some sort of memo. I am building a board game on the web, Poppy. I love the Ivysaur. Or Bulbasaur. That's very funny. Pepe Bulbasaur. Hilarious. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I built a board game with some friends of mine over the course of a number of years. And now I'm taking said board game, Pepesaur, perfect. I'm taking that board game and I'm turning it into a React, ThreeJS front end, a NodeJS backend, and most likely a MongoDB database to tie all these things together. And so I'm building it slowly, little by little, making sure that each piece makes sense. Yeah, let me actually pop it out, show it off. This is it. I think I'm actually covering up the ad for this. I don't know where it went. Anyway, so this is available right now on LYOC.shop. It's the last year of Carbon, a competitive cooperative experience about the end of the world. You are a renewable energy company working together with 3 to 4 other renewable energy companies at your table. And if I pop up the screen here, we'll get this up and running and start the server. Start. I'm gonna pop that up. 1 sec. So I'm getting close to finishing the aesthetics of the main game minus the cards. This is what it looks like in just HTML. But if you move over to the ThreeJS side, wabam. This is what my game looks like more or less when it's out on a table. We have 2 pits for where the last little bit of carbon in the world remains. We have the World Energy Pool, where everyone's donated energy goes at the end of every summit. And if we look at the overhead cam, the game works over a series of seasons. So you start out in spring, which has the lowest energy requirement. Energy requirements rise and rise as the years go on, as the year goes on. And you have to collectively hit these numbers of donated energy together. And so right now I'm working out the mechanics of essentially breaking this thing down into all that exists for it. This is what the game looks like in the box. It's very petite, but I've crammed as much possible stuff into it as possible. You got those 4 donation cups, which are these things over here. We got the player mats, which are these square things, which I've managed to get out on the table. Thank you. So it's some of my work. We had a great graphic designer on the team, and I'm using all of his assets right now. This would look a lot worse if a legit graphic designer hadn't worked on it. But I'm figuring out now, essentially, how to translate the game rules into code, and it's going to be an endeavor. But for the meantime, I think this is pretty freaking cool. And right now I'm just going through the basics. I got a turn tracker going here. What I think the next step is to have a sort of like control panel on the side for hitting buttons for advancing the state, and then translating that into 3D actions later when it's all functional. Am I a coder, or decide to learn how to code to do the digital edition of the game? Very cool, very neat, awesome if I must say. Thank you, Random, very kind. I am a coder. I've been a software developer for probably about 5 or 6 years in the workforce. I recently quit my job about a year ago in order to pursue making my own web apps, formulating my own business. So this is very much in the realm of what I've been doing in the corporate world. So banking, government, and startups. This is what I've been doing legitimately as a job for a while, and now I'm taking that massive conglomeration of random information, lol XD, so random, and trying my best to put it all into a game. I've tried making this game in Unity before, not quite so much to... It's not my strongest language, C#. I'm much stronger in JavaScript. But I did port this thing into Tabletop Simulator. However, this is a bit of a challenge for me. I think the rules have too many gray areas, and by forcing myself to put it into code, I'm essentially going to massage out those gray areas and make the game something that people can just play online and not have to use Tabletop Simulator for. I essentially want this to be more or less the Kantan online version, but for my own board game. Yeah, so I do code, and let me know if you want me to go through any interview questions. I hit the rank as senior before I dropped out of the coding world, so I have done coding interviews for other people before. I cut my teeth, like I said, in JavaScript, AWS, Postgres as my database. We got some crosstalk between the YouTube and the Twitch crowd. Excuse me. And we also have a Discord where people like to show off memes and games that they've made. So like I said, we're approaching the limits of what we can do on the client side here. Right now I've made a state representation of the game, which has our carbon reservoir, the turn tracker, the month and seasonal tracker, which all shows up here, keeps track of the game's timeline. And then I have an object here which is duplicated 4 times so that I have a state for each of my players. And I also have this little toggle up here. If I go to 3, we only have 3 players on the board. If I go to 4, we have all 4 players present. Next thing I need to do is I need to drop these states into a context so that I can then access the information down the line in the player's the player child component. So I'm gonna pop up an older project of mine because I've already learned how to use the use state functionality. Not use state. Check out object. There we go. So object, router, provide a context. So I'm gonna create a folder called state here. And in this, I'm gonna create another file, and I'm gonna call this contexts. Yeah, for like context.js. I'm going to create a context. From React, and then I'm going to export const player context. It's going to be a create context. No. And then I will import this into my main app. Now I have my player context here. What I then do is I make a new, I need to do this after. So I have my 4 states here, and then I'm going to drop this down here. I'm going to say const player context obj, so I know it's an object. And then I'm going to grab these 4 states and get rid of all the junk. Don't need any brackets. I don't need any variable definitions here. I just need commas, and I need to order these things in a sensible way. Now this is a little silly, having the setter getter right next to each other, but this is just anything you can do style-wise to make things make more sense for you will be beneficial to you. I need to wrap my game here, my browser router. So regardless of whether I'm viewing this in 2D or 3D mode, I will say my player context dot provider. Now provider means I'm sending this information downstream, and this will be equal to my player context object that I've made. And then, like all HTML things, I need to wrap it. So player context provider. And I need to end caret that. So that's in the right spot. Main body contains both of these. So I'm going to fix the indentation here. That's fine, that's fine. Cool. So now I have context available downstream. Can I get a cameo in the game? I can buy a license to the name and picture for 50 bucks. Maybe. I think we're going to need to negotiate on price, though. I don't want to ban another person in my chat today for trying to hawk me garbage. Cool. So I have incorporated the React hook of context, which, like I said, allows me to pass state downstream. Is that Fey rules? Would I own their name? Ooh. Oh, are we talking like devil rules? Do I own your soul in perpetuity for the rest of time throughout the universe? Because then we might have a deal on our hands there. Cool. So we got our context provider, and now I want to essentially grab that same context downstream. So how did I do this in my other React app? Don't include build. Why would you include build? There we go. Nice. So the reason that I plucked that context is so that I'm grabbing it from the same place down the line, and so that I can grab the data programmatically as opposed to grabbing it in the HTML. So if I go down to board 3D, don't need any of this stuff, because what matters is down to the player mats. That's where I really need to grab my ish. So I'll go down to the player mat, and from here, after I've created the context, I import the same context. Import. I'm grabbing player context from my player context. And when I have this here, I can then use my player ID and this, num factories, num batteries. These will be grabbed from the context provided. For 50 smackaroos. Just 50 buku bucks and you can own this boy's soul. Extra $10 for the soul? I don't know. That's a pretty good deal. I would suggest pricing yourself a little bit higher, random. Just a skosh. Just an itty bitty. So I got my context, and now I have use state and use memo, which memo is so when this component's reloaded, we're not doubling our work. This variable will stay in memory and not get regenerated because it's going to be the same to memo or not to memo. I have so many questions. Would I also inherit any soul-based debt after purchase? Ooh. You've put a lot more thought in this than I have, Blondie. You've put quite a bit more thought into this. Like, would I inherit all of your negative karma? How much negative karma do you have, random? I might be buying a clunker here. This might be a lemon soul. Gotta say, I'm new to the game. I've never bought a soul before. I am what you would consider a sole proprietor. Ha! Because I just have the one. Alright, context. We're going to grab our entire context. Player states. Now the issue is... Oh god, this is frustrating. So, realistically, I don't want to... In order to programmatically grab this data, I don't want to do this. This is silly. You have a lot of negative karma. Lemon Soul is a great name for a band. That sour pucker soul. So this here, this is actually bad for me because I'm trying to access this information based off of an integer, which is our player ID. But I have 4 player states here. And each of these, if I want to programmatically grab the player state and the setter, I need to put these into 2 separate arrays. So this will go here. This will go here. And this will go here. And this is 1. And then the next one. There we go. Now, I'll be able to use my player ID. And I need to set this so p states, p state setters. Cool. I've now created two variables within my player context object, both of which are arrays that are 0th indexed. So if I try to get player 1 state, I need to access it via hitting player 0. In order to access my states and setters, what I need to do is I have this use context thing. I'll have player state, which will be equal to my use context, player context, and I will receive, and I need to get, trying to understand React things being a junior using Vue is hard. Yeah. Everything has its own little minutia to it. It's typically why it's best to dive down one rabbit hole at a time. Like, there's overarching programming principles that are agnostic to the language or the framework that you use. But there's also specificity pertaining to each language or framework which do not translate. Like, as long as you get the programmatic ideas down, you can basically talk to any LLM and figure out how to code something. But when you start to cross frameworks, you start trying to do something in one framework that doesn't work in the other. Like, I've never used Vue. I don't know let's ask Mr. Robot, ChatGPT, and see how these different. How is Vue different from React? So Vue uses templates. React uses JavaScript XML. Vue components encapsulate both the markup and behavior in a single file. React separates components handling the UI behavior. All right. That's me. I'm stemming, as they call it. I'm bouncing my feet constantly. I always got the jitters. I gotta move. I gotta bounce. I can't sit still really without vibrating or moving somehow. Always been that way. Plus, it gives the scene a little bit of dynamicism. Yeah, I'm shaking the whole thing right now. So I'm going to call this PC for player context, and then I'm going to break this out into const player state and const set player state. And I'm going to grab these with my props. Welcome back, Enchanted. Good to have you. So if we look back at the context that we've created, I have two arrays within my player context object, pstates and pstate setters. And I'm going to need both of these. Pstates is going to be PC. So I'm calling that context object, which once again looks like this. I'm going to say pc.pstates. And then I want to say player ID. Why? Because when I generate this, I want to be able to grab. Now the question is, I think this is reference. I think this is passed by reference. Should be. We can test that out later though. And then pc.pstateSetters, same thing, player ID. So what I've done is I have changed the way I've lifted the state, as it's called. Originally, the factories and batteries for my player were set within this player component. The player component is one of 4 player components that sit on the table, which is contained within this canvas these could be broken out into different components as well to simplify the file, but we're under 100 lines, so whatever. And then this board sits as a component, as a route on my main app. And the main app is the current piece that is holding my player states. So I have alternated between, instead of using player energy, player energy turn tracker, what I want actually is player one state, not player one state. Oof. See, this is where it's going to get a little annoying. I have 4 states. And instead of showing my energy here, because that's going to be a bit of a nightmare, and I don't want to deal with that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have on my player mat, I have a group, I have a rotation, and I have my player state available here. I'm going to create a P right here. And this should work. We're going to find out together. I'm going to grab my player's state. And this is JSX, so we wrap it in curly braces in order to activate and access is actually the right word, my player's state. And on my state, I have a couple different things. I have my factories, batteries, factory energy, battery energy. Realistically, this should be in a const folder. And the nice thing about it being in a different file is that I can have the dual screen, so I have this thing accessed. So I think I'm going to do that now. We're going to make a new folder called const. State wouldn't be a bad place to put it either. But we're just going to say player state init.js. And we're going to export. I'll just call this player base state. So it matches the object name. And we say export const player base state. I want this player base state to be imported down here. Import player base state. And now all my game states are initially set to these states here. And like I said, now we can split screen this, drive this over here, scooch it over. I'm going to hide my camera for now so that you can see what we're doing here. So we have our player state with the various pieces that exist on my player portion here. Player mat, player state. Now my player state, which I can then access, I have dot factories. So I can actually replace this num factories with this dot factories. And same thing, player state dot batteries. And then down here I want player state dot factory energy. And now I've lifted the state. All this stuff should now be available here. This might break. Player ID is not going to change, so I don't need to do that. It's complaining here because it says this should be updated when player ID is updated. But realistically, all of these IDs should never change. Your ID should be static throughout the whole thing. I will in a sec. I just want to make sure that this works. Ooh. P is not part of the ThreeJS state. Yep. Never mind. So, whatever. Player one's turn. Cool. I still have my factories and batteries available here. I'm going to refresh this just to make sure that's still the case. Nice. Well, what should happen here is I have a base state here. I'm gonna move that back over. If I increase this to 3 and save it, if I did this correctly, the factories here should move up from 2 to 3. Nope, that didn't work. If I refresh maybe. Yeah, there we go. Just had to refresh the page. Sick. So. Oh, wait. Because the app was already loaded and I changed the base state, I didn't change my player state. Now, this is an important aspect when it comes to React and reloading stuff. So I can hide these. React dynamically loads when you update different hooks. And what I updated here was this object, player base state. I didn't update the state hook, and that's why the app, when it reloaded, it set the state to this initial value, but it did not change it here. Okay, let's check out Enchanted Echo's progress on his game. He put my beautiful Sporpy face. Is this the right one? Yeah. He put my beautiful Sporpy face in his game. What was it? Is it this one? Take a quick peek. That's amazing. Scratch is fun. Any sort of easy entry you can have into programming, take that first. The longer you go without having to deal with like the minutia, the better of time you're gonna have with it. All right, he posted a demo. Let's see. Take a peek. Let's take a peek at scratch.mit.edu. Space Dodger. Let's check it out. Poppin' Sporp. Nice. And I love community content. If anyone has... Whoopsie. I guess it didn't load right. Route. I can't move. Let's try this again. No, not Sporp. Blow it up, hit go, play. There we go. Okay, so W goes forward. There we are. Nice. Sick. Love that. Let's try one more time. SPORP. Hit go. Sporp skin activated. Also press the buttons in the shop. This is really fun. Nice work. This is honestly better than a lot of the first games that I've made. Cool, man. I like it. Very fun. Let's check out the shop. Don't press me. Sick. Good work. And if anyone else has any community content they would like to share or games they want to show off, feel free to add it to Sporpy Hall. We do work. We are working on being better gamers. And sometimes being a better gamer means making better games. All right. So none of that worked. Oh, so I can use the turn order here because I've loaded these states. So I can go to P states and here, so I can say available energy. And then once again, brackets, P states, turn order, dot energy, factory energy. So I got my contexts, player base state, yeah, factory energy. So that should be 0. P states is not defined. Do I have to drop these into... I guess I can. Question is how to access this here. I don't really care. So what I can do is, I think I'm going to have this split into two pieces where half of it is going to be in this div and it's going to be navigating between the boards, and then half of it's going to show my state as like a 2/3, 1/3 side of the screen. And also, if anyone has any coding questions, feel free to ask. I know a thing or two sometimes, every now and again. Let's call this div. So we're gonna have one div. Half of it's going to be this, and then half of this is going to be div. With my class name equal to. So my browser router here. Hucking in a div. And this will be two sections. First will be the stator. And this class name will be board, I guess. Stator and viz. Board viz. Board view. We'll call it state view. Why not? Make it nice and easy. I'll get to it in a second, Enchanted. Can I code you a goth girlfriend? I sure can. Let's pop over to ChatGPT. And let's ask ChatGPT how it would solve this conundrum. Can you code me a goth GF? Prefixes: Raven, Luna, Morticia, Wednesday. Darkness, Mightshade, Raven, Moon, Sorrow. There's your goth GF. Python, random. All for you. Network error. You can run this code to get a random goth GF every time. Mrs. Sporp would not appreciate that at all. That's so funny. All right, let's pop up this project again. Load it into here. Bam. We're running. Shop. Ooh. I love little Easter eggs like that. Very fun. Sick. Look at me go. You know, if anyone gets bored here, I actually have a couple games on my own website, which is comos.website. And if you go to the games section here, I have a few of the things that I've made over the years. So this is Together We Climb. I made a multiplayer game in Unity that two people click and drag a line, and it interpolates the line together, and you have to try to hit the surface. Pizza Time. This is an HIO 3-level little shooter where you're a pizza guy and you throw pizza, like cookies or something at people. I don't know, something like that. There's my little guy. Very fun. Borderlands, this is the easiest one to get into. It is entirely made in HTML and CSS, meant to be played full screen. And the point is you go through Borderlands in order to collect all the necessary items to chill out with a guy named Jeff. And then I made this 3D Game of Life, which is a 3D representation of Conway's Game of Life. And I think it's pretty fun. I did want to make it into a mover shooter at one point in my life, but I got other things going on, like this. 6. A player one's turn. I think if I break these out into actual variables, I can then access them A in here and then B on the UI. It doesn't like that. I hate how JavaScript, you don't need semicolons. Like, they come in handy sometimes. Whoa. Can I read property of P states? Making a website using Google Sites. Nice. Back in my day, they made something called, something called GeoCities. That's how we used to make websites. It was that and MySpace. Alright, it really doesn't like that. Let's just say this. Let's cheat. I just don't feel like doing this right now. There we go. So I got my P states here. I'm gonna go P states. Available energy is equal to P states of player ID, turn order, which I'll probably like change to dot factory energy. Can I read properties of undefined factory energy? P states of 0. Every state. Factory energy should exist, even if it's just 0. All right. Your website layout and colors remind me of like early 2000s websites that sell like country music. Exactly. There's a design philosophy called brutalism, and that's sort of the structure that I'm following. I love it. I think it's fun. Nice. ChatGPT is super, super useful. It is. I don't know if I'm going to run code by my community just yet, but send it away. We can see what it does. All right. This isn't working. So realistically, I'm just gonna get rid of this for now. I want to be able to display my energy somehow, and I think I can do it because I'm going to the context provider here. It's a website. I sent the website. What I want to do is turn order, turn tracker. There we are. I want to send down turn tracker. And we're going to do something here. Advanced timeline, board 3D, turn tracker is equal to my turn tracker. We're going to go down to board 3D, add that as a prop. And then I want to use my same use context portion here. All this jazz. And all that jazz. So I got all that. I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna grab you, I'm gonna jump that up, use state, and then use context. Grab the context, drop it into the state, and then player state. Player ID is not defined because it needs to say turn tracker. Player context is not defined. Import player context. Okay. Then my player state is available here. And from here, I have this whole canvas container. I got my buttons. And I can add in here a paragraph that says current available energy, which is equal to player state dot factory energy. State never defined. So you should refresh. Cannot read undefined factory energy. So player state. Is it because it's set to 0 that it's complaining? Oh, okay. Never mind. I just didn't update that. Current available energy 0. So if I go to player base state, now realistically this is something that's going to be happening on my, we'll set that factory energy just 2 for the start. Refresh that. Current available energy 2. Cool. Cannot read factory energy. Interesting. Import 3D. Now, why can't you? Player base state. Right, because the turn order. Gotcha. Because I don't have a 5th player. And technically, I'm jumping ahead to the 5th player here. All right, let's check out your site. Amazing. Let's see. Wow. Cool, we got a random number generator in here, and we have different pieces of inspirational text here. Code like there's no tomorrow. Embrace the bugs. Hey, you're teachers. Programming's the closest thing we have to magic. The best error message is the one that never shows up. Yep. All good stuff. I love it. Very funny, Enchanted. Very funny. Like I said, we're coming up to the limits of what we're going to be able to accomplish here. And on my board 3D, I already have all this stuff. And realistically, I kind of want to lock this down. So I got my divs. Div. I put a text because I know I would like. I appreciate that. Thank you for the courteousness. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to open too much code while I'm running. I don't want my computer to commit Sudoku, as they say, as the kids say. So I got my canvas here. This will be my main board. Canvas container. I realistically want the canvas container to take up like 90 to 95% of the site. if I look here, so I got this is my header, and then I want this to take up basically 2/3 of the screen, and then I want to have a bunch of action stuff to the right. And I want to limit my action stuff to HTML buttons and actions for the time being, because it's going to be easier than messing around with 3D controls at the onset. So I jump into Board 3D. I got my canvas container, and I got these divs. And the div is going to be, and my canvas container up here takes up how much? 75 BW, 75 BW. We'll call that 8080. Why not? And then I want you in here. My board view will be the canvas. And then I'm going to turn this into a flex box. My state view is going to be all this stuff. Everything that's not my canvas. And this is just a sort of sensible way to divvy up everything. Board view, state view, canvas container. I don't really actually need all, I don't need a separate div here. This is all under the canvas container. Okay. Board view, dink, dink. Sick. Send a vid of what the HTML looks like. Nice. So this canvas container, this should be display, flex direction. I think I want columns because I want them left to right, and then flex box sizes. Controlling the ratio. Let's just see how this looks for now. It's not column, it is definitely row. There we go. That looks a lot better. Now it's still a little gross, but at least I have all my ish on the right side of the screen now. Let's see. Now let's just check out what our boy Enchanted in chat shows up. Best. Keep common code on, embrace the bugs, codes like you. Nice. Very funny. Love that. So my number one tip when it comes to learning how to code is do it. Do it a lot and figure out a project that you care about, because when you hit the ick, when you hit the rough, when you hit the parts where you're really stuck and you don't know how to progress and you're banging your head against the computer and you know you have to refactor everything in order to make some little piece functional, it's a test of patience, and you got to have a lot of patience if you want to succeed at being a coder. There's no fast, quick answers that won't bite you in the butt in the long run. It just doesn't exist. So just keep trying, keep trucking at it, keep pushing yourself. Don't give up. That's about it. If you want to be good at it, keep doing it and don't give up. And it took me like a good 2 years in the workforce, probably 3 to 4 actually, between jobs, before I consider myself semi-fluent in code, to the point where I could actually have discussions about what's going on and how to, and like ideate things and hold concepts in my brain and be able to like black box things to say, all right, we're doing this thing, and it means a whole rabbit hole within it of all the different things we got to do to progress. So that's what I would say. Keep doing it, keep coding, keep learning, keep your ego in check, because you're gonna get punched a lot, and you're not as good as you think you are. And I have to remind myself of that a lot. I'm not as good as I think I am, and I have to keep reminding myself of that because that's the only way to get better, is to dive in and accept that you're worse than you want to be. Stuff like that. And also code games. Good for you for picking up Scratch and coding games. It's a great way to hold your interest in terms of coding and doing it. And it's a great avenue. Picking something in your life that you really care about and focusing in on that will help you, give you that fuel of motivation to continue. That's my ish. That's what I would say. So it's gonna break right here because I don't have a player 5. If you want to be elite, learn C. If you want job security, learn C. Absolutely. Oof, that's not right. Is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be column? It might be. Cause that looks gross. I feel like this re-renders differently every single time I do it. That's frustrating. Row? Yeah, what? That's what it should be. Ah. Right, and then this has to be column. So I got my canvas container, and next I need my state view. And this has to be flex direction. Column. And I really want to enforce sizes here. Because this ain't working. That ain't Falco. What is this ish? My flex items are taking up way less room than I want them to. Like width of my board view should be 100%. Board view. Let's just see if that messes with anything. Beep boop. Ah, there we are. That's better. How much better? Better. 80? That don't look too bad. Cool. Like I said, we're starting to exhaust the limits of what's doable on the front end side of stuff. I mean, we could do still the card actions. That's probably a good thing to do. But once we split this up into a front end and a back end, we essentially double to quadruple the work it's going to take to advance from that point forward. So I'm trying to solidify as much as I humanly can on the front end side before I delve into my server. For 3D, not bad, buddy. Do I need a... What happens if I don't have this? I'm curious. Could be worse, could be better. What I probably need is a media query here in order to update this. Yeah, why not? We'll just go with that for now. Cool. Be a basic B. Skip ahead. Yes. Continue watching. I do apologize. Ever since I got rid of premium YouTube, it's been getting worse. Which I have officially ditched. I didn't, after the price hike, I was just like, I'm done. I'm not paying for this anymore. Ugh, it's been great. Getting away from the YouTube algorithm saved me a ton of time, because I didn't realize just how much time I've been eating up. Yum, yum. Let's see what we got going on next. What's been going on, random, is that we're still coding. I broke up the UI a little bit, so now it looks like this, which I think is pretty good. We have a bunch of control options to the right-hand side of the board, and then we have the board visible right here. We have a nav button to still go back to kind of the player state, which it's ugly. That's pretty. That's so pretty. I love that. Very fun. But not too much has changed. Listening to Skyrim music, coding, booling. How do you make and run website? What do you mean? You made a website. Do you want to know how to pop it up on the internet so that other people can access it? Is that what you're asking? All you got to do is have some place where your index.html file is loadable at an accessible web address. So you can do this with GitHub for free, I believe. So all you got to do is log in to a GitHub account. Ask your parents if you need to. You get one site per GitHub account and organization. So if you make a GitHub account, you get one for free. And then you just upload your index.html site to wherever it goes. Let me dive into my GitHub and see if I can do this. Okay, so actually the step-by-step's right here. So make a GitHub account, create a new public repository named your username.github.io. And then you can just upload your file to that repo. And there you go. That's it. Super easy. Super duper easy. Why not? Well, let's do mine. So I'm gonna go create sporp.github.io. I'm a little nervous. So allegedly, this is all that we need to do. I have my GitHub account here, Sporp. Hello. That's where I'm uploading all my code currently for this project into a private repository. But I'm just going to make a public repository, hit create. And then I'm just going to go to ChatGPT. Can you give me all-in-one index.html file for a modern, sleek, catching web page about me, Sporp. A full stack senior software developer who specializes in React, JavaScript / TypeScript, Node, NodeJS, and Postgres databases. We'll just let that chooch. And whatever this is, I'm going to copy it and dump it in. I'm not even going to check anything. We're just going to try it out. Sport profile picture. Except I might add in my profile pic for my website. Cool. Copy that code. I'm going to import code. How do I set up in desktop? No. What I'm trying to do here is just access this repo. Let me see. My repositories. Script. Cool. Alright, so what I can do is push existing from command line, import code, TFS project. I would really like to just creating a new file. There we go. Just gonna drag and drop this in. I'm gonna call this index.html. Commit changes. Create index.html. Commit. Now allegedly, I should just be able to hit this site. Yeah, there's another page here. Let's see. Where are you? Index.html. Push changes. It should be right here. Adios, Enchanted. Great to have you along. Super fun, as always. I want to go to sporp.github.io. There we go. Wha-bam! It's that easy. And this site's live. You can go to sport.github.io right now. And you can see this all. That was it. I made a website, and it's live. See you next stream. Glad we got to make this before you headed off. It's been real. I'm a passionate full-stack senior software developer with expertise in React, JavaScript, Node, Postgres. There we go. That was it. And you can just edit this stuff. That's how you make a website. So, today, for the stream, we have broken out our state a bit better. Yeah, it is nice. We broke out our state a little bit better for our game. The state now exists as 4 separate hooks, one for each of our players. That hook is now available in a context so that other parts of my React application can access it without having to overload on props, which is great. Oh, I want to do one last thing where it wouldn't crash if I clear state. And I want to say can I just say this? That might work. So this says access is if available, otherwise I believe return null. We're gonna find out together. 3's turn, 4's turn, 5's turn. Energy currently not available. Nice. Sick. And we're navigating through our game's timeline as each of our players ends their turn. We end up in spring. All players take their turns, end the turn, and we make it to summer. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. That's a lot of progress for today. Check our Git status. I've updated a couple different files. In order to git add source, and yeah, that covers everything except the design doc, which I don't really need to upload. So I'm saying add every change in the source folder. Commit all these changes under the message. Break out player state to lift player state to top level. Add context for state to access throughout app. Oh, and also break out UI between view and state manipulation. Give yourself, this is a great, another low coding thing, give yourself verbose commit messages. So you know exactly what you've done, and when you dive into the code and see your changes, you're primed to understand what the changes are. Git push. There we go. Uploaded to my GitHub. That's pretty sick. I think I've earned a little TF2. Oh, actually, I can shut down that server. No, I already did. Close that. Actually, we can dive through some of our memes. Thanks to Random. Thank you, Random, for flooding my chat with me. Flooding my Discord with memes. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Love Plants vs. Zombies. I used to play that back in high school. That's a while ago. You know, if any of these make me laugh, I'll send you a sticker. How about that? You laugh, you get a sticker. Woof. Oh my god.
Get up if you want to, bitch.
Ooh. Hey, okay, you want? I swear to fucking stop.
The doink. The doink. Nice. Oh, I didn't want to download that. Oopsie.
C'est quoi ça? Brian? No, I can't. Ronnie, take it off. Take it off. I can't. I can't. Take it off.
I keep hitting the download button.
Ya se espanta el niño.
4 Dead. Blondie, if you're still in the chat, we gotta play Left 4 Dead sometime. OG.
You can't wear big boots in a library, sir.
Shh! This is a major health and safety hazard, sir.
You can't wear these in a church, sir.
Jesus loves big boots.
Can you say big boot?
Sir, please.
Boost?
You do not have to say anything, but
They're just big boots.
You can't wear big boots on a roller coaster, sir.
Yes, I can.
I'm covered in foam, dog.
Que negrão. Pãozinho com cafezinho. Tá?
I'm holding strong. I'm holding strong. Oof.
Espera un poco, un poquito más.
What a way to go. What a way to go. I would hide from Batman too. A man completely dedicated to his own fear. Not the person you want to meet in an alleyway. Oh, this reminds me of this meme. And I'm laughing at my own meme, not yours. So it doesn't count. Damn, I just deleted it. This meme, I die laughing every single time I see it. Oh. So good. So good. Nice, solid. Good way to spend a Friday or Saturday night. Yeah, it's the dream. That's the that's the dream. Yeah, there's nothing to ponder there. That's never changed. Last bit. We've really got to watch out for his Doodle Bob there, though. Doodle Bob. Whew. All right. We've had some fun. Coded today. I don't know. You didn't see nothing, Random. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see nothing. Also, who are you calling a bitch? That language will not get you anywhere in this channel, in this Christian Minecraft Twitter, Twitch, whatever. Oh, you know what? I have a great way to end stream today. I'm going to see how many bombs I can line up in Gary's mod until my computer crashes. All right, Random. Go to the email, contact@sporp.shop. Hit me up with your address. I promise not to dox you. I'll send you a sticker. You got me. I'm not happy about it. Hit up my email. I'll mail it out to you. You earned it. You earned it. GM Big City, Construct, 7-Eleven. Let's go to Big City. I think I have the nukes still installed. It depends. So basically, we're going to see if we can crash this stream. Common, Random W. Common. Easy street. There we go. There we go. Where'd it go? Where'd the other one go? Props, weapons? I can't even pick that up. Where are my guns? Am I crate? Ah, there we go. Weapons. Classic. Woo! And it did nothing. Entities. FF2. Fun and games. Bouncy bombs. Explosives. Atomic bomb. Briefcase. Oh, I gotta arm them. That's right. Armed. What is it? V? There it is. Phew! I'm a little surprised that that didn't. Atomic bomb, soda can. Alright, let's... I got a BMO? What? Look at that happy little guy. I forgot I had these things. Got a fin. Let's see, can I give these a weapon? Nuclear airstrike, cluster nuke, knock nuke. Oh. Forgot I had this.
I'm a fire in my laser.
Amazing. Doctor Who stuff. I want to drop. There you go. Grab the gun, Finn. Grab it. Alright. So, I want humans resistance. I got a link, that's fun. Oh yeah, a lot of classic. I have Putin harmless and Putin harmful. I got a Fall Guys. Uh-oh. Are you Putin harmless or Putin harmful? Oh, I got ODSTs. Nice. I want to spawn a... I have Animal Crossing people. Wait, where's Wait, Nate Hostile? Where is... There's G-Man Combine. There we go. I want... It's hilarious that I have Pokemon in here as well. I love that I have Poe friendly and Poe enemy. Just T-posing. Let's combine. Strider, scanner. I can do a gunship. That's how. Come on, Poe. speed is sick. I heard some stutter. Oh, still dead. Alright. Can I crash this stream? Is that possible? Okay. I want a copier. Oh, where's my... Aha. Tool gun. Generic creator. How do I copy? So if you check the stream description, it should have an email address, contact@sporp.shop. Toolgun copy. Duplicator. What's the creator? I want the duplicator. There we go. This will continue. The stream will go until my computer crashes, basically. Unless it crashes, I think we're done for the day. Please do. Yeah, they're all on. Yes. Is this the screen door? Oh. Oh boy, here we go. Oh no, I think I tapped out of it and it crashed. There we go. Oh, wow. I'm surprised we didn't die. One of these is the scream door. I think it's over in this direction. God, this empty city always just creeped me out. I think it's near the sewage plant. I'm a little shocked that that didn't do worse. Here, let's see if I... Oh, do I have to... Guess that doesn't work anymore. The neon gun. Ah, alright. Some of these are old. New pack 4 is theirs. Alright. One of these is the scream door. I'm trying to see where that is. It's terrifying. There's this door. Hello, Alex! Welcome to the stream. Everyone say hello to my patron, my buddy. Good to have you back. Today we've been working on my board game a bunch. I'm working on turning a board game I made with some friends into a React Node, probably MongoDB, probably Express database thing. Turning a board game into a full-fledged web app with as raw componentry as I can get. Right now, though, we're taking a break, and we're looking for the scream door in GM Big City. So allegedly, there's a door that you can go to in here, somewhere around here. And when you approach it, a terrifying voice just screams at you. Not fun. Whoop. I think it's on the outside here. Is this the one? No, that's how you get inside. Ruh-roh. Alright, we crashed. So something went wrong there. Ugh. Well, Alex, been a while since we've spoken, but last time you had a great question about programming. Do you have any other questions? Did you ever get started on the web app that you were discussing with me? Pop back up Big City again. Learned from React and moved on to Next. Nice. I believe that's when Next is server-side React rendering. Yeah. Cool. It's actually not a... Using Next isn't a bad idea for the web app that I'm currently building. I'm hosting it on Vercel, so you can see my progress so far on the website. Absolutely. I'm going to send you a link to the Discord in chat. I have a code section, and you're more than welcome to drop in the link, and we can see where you're at. I love showing off community stuff.
Hello guys, coming here to the store. But I found out the code by myself, so I was just pressing
Hustlers
buttons,
University
finding
grad. I
out.
love it.
Free didn't
Very
work, so
fun.
I tried. Yeah, you know.
There was a door around here. KetoHero.store. Good name. I like that. There was a door around here somewhere that barked at you. Let's go check that out. Bing bang. Oh, nice. Chat, let's check out, let's check this out. 3-month free trial, Keto Hero. Currently trying to figure out authentication, but I am drawing a blank. Authentication is a little tough. There's a few ways to do it. You could do like a Firebase Google login, and that'll probably be a pretty quick way to get into it. You could also use something like NodeMailer. That's what I use for my site. Is I generate a random string, which is the activation URL, and I send that to my user's email address that they put in for their username. Where are you getting stuck? Because the whole point of authentication is essentially verifying the person on the other side is a real person and that they're not just wasting your bandwidth and your memory. So log in. Nice. Ooh, you have a Google sign in and GitHub. Cool, cool. I'm not going to click on those, but menu. Nice. Add to bag. Cool. Sick. This looks great. Recipes, discounts, blog. Sick. About us. Okay, I watched a video by Lee Robinson and I literally copied the code he used, but it's not working. Lee Robinson authentication. Is this the one? Next.js.
Let's talk about
authentication
in Next.js. So this is a broad topic and there's a lot that we could talk about. So in this video, I'm going to cover showing how to do basic session authentication in Next.js without any additional libraries. And then I'll also show some other options you can use too if you don't want to roll your own auth. So let's get into it. The code for this video will be in the description, and we've also published new docs for both the pages and the app router, so go check those out. But what I've done is I've cloned this application locally, I've got it up in my editor, and we're just going to talk through some of the bits here. So first we have our root layout, which hasn't changed from setting up a Hello World Next.js app. This is just the HTML in the body of our application. And then I have our index route. So I have our page file denoting that route. This is a server component, so we've marked it as async, and we're awaiting getting the session for our application. If there's a user, we're going to print out information about the user here. Otherwise, we're just going to say it's null. And then we have two different forms here. We have one form that allows the user to log.
Random, you do with the sticker whatever you like. I would prefer that you not tell me about it. Oh, that's funny.
Log in, and it calls the server action. It calls this login function and then redirects back. And then we also have the same thing basically to log out. So this is just a basic scaffolding of login, log out. There's of course a lot more that we can do here, but the real meat of understanding the basics of authentication is going to be in the login and log out functions. So we've moved all of this library, everything related to authentication, into this one lib.ts file.
Our mission in Coding Dojo is about redefining what's possible in our students' lives. If you are interested in getting into tech, we are one.
Let's start
rolling your own auth.
Start with login.
Okay.
So the login function that gets called over here, I'll just type it.
All right. A great thing that you could use for this is ChatGPT. You can get your traces. Essentially, if there's any errors, you can just input those into ChatGPT, and it can help you suss out what the issues you're experiencing are. Let's see.
And lee@vercel.com. Hit enter to submit our form, and we see this information that is logged out in the right. So this login function is called. It takes in the form data. I can read information from the form, like the email. I can put some other additional information here on the user object. In your application, this is where you would probably talk to a database and look up information about the user. And once we get that information back, then we get to create our session. So we're going to define when we want it to expire.
Is ChatGPT or Gemini better for code? I only really have experience with ChatGPT. Best code-wise would probably be GitHub Copilot. I just can't stop sporping. The best thing for code would definitely be Copilot, and I've heard that it's better for niche languages. So more people code in JavaScript than a lot of other languages out there. So like JavaScript and Python are the two big players right now. But if you start to dive into like Ruby or Rust or C, anything that's more purpose-built, it tends to have a higher barrier to entry, so the code that the LLM will spit out will be better quality. From what I've seen, ChatGPT is perfectly fine for my needs. I was able to bang out a Python 3 backend for a project of mine in like 2 days using ChatGPT mostly. And I don't code in Python. I pretty much code exclusively in JavaScript and TypeScript. And it works great. So I would say ChatGPT is totally fine, probably for your needs.
Through a new date, we're going to make this session option or session object, which is going to be encrypted, and it takes the user and the time that it expires. And then we set this as a cookie. So Next.js has this cookies function that allows you to set and delete cookies. So we set this with the name.
Nah, Alex, I did a bunch of work today. I'm happy to take a break and work on something else for a little bit. I'm happy to answer questions. It's good for me to take breaks and jump between subjects because it keeps the brain fresh. If I stare at something for too long, I tend to go a little cuckoo for Cocoa
we say
Puffs.
when it expires, and critically we say this is an HTTP only cookie. So you can only read this on the server. Now we skipped over this encryption part, but this is really important. So if we go up to encrypt, you'll see that we're doing a couple things here. This is an asynchronous function. It takes in the payload for our JWT or JSON Web Token, and we're going to call this function
I didn't know Next was this
from this library here, Jose, who is going to allow us to sign the JWT based on the payload and the.
So do you have any questions about how authentication works? Because what I do on my digital leech finder app is, you know what, actually, it'd be good to do a Patreon tie-in for that to let my users use it for free. You'll get it when you get it, Random. You'll get it in my own time. You'll get it. I just don't know when. And honestly, it's more fun having a surprise. Yeah, the whole purpose of authentication is you have kind of just like a garbled mess of data that you send with every request as a bearer token. The server decrypts that garbled mess and pulls out your user data. I don't know. It might be easier. Express routing would be easier for me because that's what I've pretty much exclusively worked with over my time. I have a totally fine time with it. I'm not super familiar with Next.js, but it looks like it's doing similar stuff here, and it's actually taking care of a lot of pieces for you. It's kind of cool that it takes care of the cookies and like encrypts and decrypts, and I do that all manually on my back end. So actually, let me see if I can pop up what I've got going on. Not sure the purpose of everything is like the middleware, data fetching, and all that jazz. Okay. So middleware is functions that are called, yeah, it is a different language. It's totally, I took a couple years of Spanish in high school, and I still am not a fluent speaker. So middleware is a function that you call before the rest of your functionality. Let me show you what I got going on for my server. I'm going to pop up a new window here. I'm going to move over to my DILF backend. Make sure that I'm not punking myself. Middleware looks like this in Express. So I want to get user email by ID. So I'm taking my JWT token, I'm decrypting it with this authenticate token middleware, which is a function that I call before I do the rest. So on my /email route on my Node.js server, before I do anything else, I take the data that's sent to me and I run it through the authenticate token function, which is my middleware. And that spits out some stuff, which I then use later on down the line. This rec.user_id, this doesn't mean anything. So rec is request. User.userid doesn't exist when I initially call the get function on the /email portion of my backend's URL. It takes the request, processes it via authenticate token, and then updates that request object, which is then used in the remainder of the function. And that's all that middleware does. You throw it in the middle, and it does something, and then you do the rest. So if I just want to make sure that authenticate token thing doesn't look too crazy. All right, that should be fine. So this is the authenticate function that I'm calling. And that is authenticate token. And that's happening right here. So remember, this is my piece of middleware. I'm taking that same request, res, and next that is part of any Express function. I take that request, I check my headers, and I grab my auth header. So that's where my authorization token is, my bearer token. And I drop that. And so since my authentication header says bearer space and then my JWT token, I'm splitting this by the space. And then I'm just getting my JWT token, which happens right here. And then I JWT verify. So I have a JWT library on my backend. I take the token and I say if it is possible to decrypt this with the secret that has been shared. Essentially, you encrypt it with the backend JWT secret, and then you decrypt it with the same secret when the token transfers back from the client to the server. I create this user bit here from JWT verify because it takes in the token as a parameter, the secret as a parameter, and then it calls this anonymous function because we got a lambda here, and that creates an error object. And if the error object is true, if something went wrong with the decryption, I send back a 403. Your authorization token is not valid. If it is valid, then the user object here is created, and I set that to be equal to my request.user, and then I call next, which means the middleware is complete. I've updated the request body, pass it all forward. And that's sort of what's happening under the hood when it comes to authentication. Let me know if you have any questions. I know I just threw a lot at you. Coding is one rabbit hole after the next. Oh, I gotta mail this shit to Scotland random. You're gonna rake me over the fucking coals for shipping. I'm gonna need a shit ton of forever stamps. It is crazy how Joe Biden is in office and I'm not. 2024, I think this is an election year. Sport for president. Let's go. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions, Random or Alex. I'm happy to dive into the stuff further. I don't know how exactly this translates to Next. It sounds like they take care of a lot of this for you with, if I can dive back into this. So that encrypt, that is taking a JWT secret that exists on your server. It is encrypting a whole bunch of data and shoving that all into a JWT text blurb. Just that string that's separated by a bunch of dots. That's your JWT token. And that's what you need in order to verify that you're a legitimate user trying to access the server. The whole point of a server is to put fences up and walls so that only the people that you want to you want to gatekeep the server from performing actions that would harm the user, or essentially you want to paywall some stuff so that you can make money and be a legitimate business. If my shriveled little brain thinks of a question, I'll ask it. Sounds good, Random. So that's encrypt, and then decrypt is when you're sending, and I keep saying client and server. The front page is your client. The server is the gated community that only allows certain actions from the requests from the client to happen. I think I'm going to stop programming and go back to pulling double shifts in the coal mines. You know, pull a Zoolander, that'd be fun. Oh, that's funny. Programming's tough, and it's in a weird place thanks to AI and generative code. I think companies got a little overzealous about just how good it is, because it's all about understanding how to solve certain problems. But you have to be able to phrase the problem correctly in order to solve it correctly. So they've been saying that for generations, though. You know, they said the car was going to replace everybody. Who knows? Maybe. It's possible. Actually, robots might be replacing coal miners at some point, too. Oh, it's funny. All right, let's keep going.
The algorithm that we want, when it was issued, when we want this put up, t.io. So I've pasted this in.
Yeah, see, that's the JWT token right there. It has 1 bit, and then a 2nd bit, and then a 3rd bit.
In here, just no longer there, it's done. If I log in again, lee@vercel.com, and I reload, what you're going to notice is that the value of expires, it's getting updated every single time, and you would also see that reflected in the decrypted value of the JWT that we're storing. So how is this happening, and why are we doing this? Well, if we pop back over to our application code and we look at the middleware file, this file is going to run in front of every request in our application, and it's calling this function.
So middleware doesn't necessarily happen before every request. It happens before gated requests. I have to have certain functions that don't allow middleware because, you know, when you log in and you don't have a cookie, you can't log in if you need the cookie to pass that route. So it exists for the restricted routes on your server, not necessarily every single one.
Taking in the web request, and it's calling update session with that web request. So let's pop back into our authentication file where we've been kind of building our own auth library, and we have update session. So takes in that request. Next request is just an extension of the web request. Takes in that request, it looks at the cookies. If there's no session cookie provided, you can just return back. Otherwise, refresh that session so it doesn't expire. So we decrypt that value from the session. We set a new expiration time. we tell next response that we're going to produce a response, a web response from this, and then on that response, we set a new cookie. Now, the bit that we skipped over here was the decrypt function. So let's go take a look at that.
Why does Wi-Fi only seem to work in this room?
You need Verizon Home Internet.
How did...
Oh, I let myself in.
Decrypt takes in this input. It uses Jose as well too to verify based on the input, based on the key, based on the algorithm that we encrypted it with. If this, is legit, we're going to decrypt it and return back the payload. So that happened down here, where we got back the value from decrypt, and then we were able to update the cookie. To round out our auth implementation, we need to read information about the request. So we talked about this get session function when we first looked at the page, but what exactly was this doing? Well, really, it's just reading from the cookies. So we already showed how we were setting the JWT as a cookie for our session.
Go for it, Alex.
All this function is doing
that's
is...
a good time. I'm going to take a quick pee. I'll be right back myself. I'm going to have to log off pretty soon anyway. All right. Common sporp piss break. All right. Apparently he's AFK too.
Just reading from the cookies, looking for that session value, and then decrypting the value. So that's how inside of here, again, if I go back to the browser, I do lee@brissell.com. This could look at my database.
I wonder if he has... I mean, this is tailwind.css. Interesting. You can tell by the little logo right here. Tailwind UI, yep. Oh, it's bright. The sun's right in my eyes. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But
database or something,
cool.
That's how this get session function is able to get back information about the session. Now, if I click log out with the server action, what's going to happen, if you watch my console over on the right side, you see that the cookie was deleted. So it was removed out of my cookies. And if we click into the logout function, all this was doing was calling the Next.js cookie.
I just want to take a peek at this. Minimalist starter for Next.js, React 3 Fiber, and ThreeJS. This might be an interesting use. When was this last updated? Packages 2 months ago. Yeah. Hello.
You make the dog eat alone.
Yeah. He always does.
I mean, he always does.
He always eats alone.
He doesn't eat breakfast alone.
Alright, well, he eats dinner alone. He doesn't hang out with me up here. Say hello to the chat, Mrs. Sporp. Ms. Sporp, I guess.
Hello, chat. It's me, the angelic figure
That's you.
of the channel.
Mm-hmm. Angel to my demon. Gotta get out of here soon for the Shwiggy Shwag. And do you need a fill-in?
David thinks we have 6.
Okay. Is that the minimum?
No, you could play with 5 if you needed to, but you could if you wanted to. You could.
I'll bring my shoes
come on the
this
court.
time.
It could be fun.
Could be fun. Huh.
Nick might play some volleyball.
Woo!
With the gang.
Sporp might play some volleyball.
Oh, sorry. Are you not allowed to say your normal name?
Yeah, you can. But
Sporp.
I'm, you know.
What? I don't know the rules.
Branding.
I don't know the rules.
You don't know streaming.
I don't. I'm a little
dingus.
I'm just here. You're my person. And that's all I can do. Just be here.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Oh, what?
Whoopsie. We're getting close to wrapping this up anyway. Get out of here.
Did you want to come?
Sure.
And do you care who drives?
No.
What does that mean?
I don't care who drives.
They asked. They're doing the thing again. Want a carpool? Yeah. Okay. I always forget you're like live right now. It freaks me out.
It's a little strange. Get out of there, dingus.
Well, I don't blame him. If I was a Starbucks can on the ground, I'd...
Well, he wasn't up here seconds ago. It wasn't an issue till the menace arrived. Want to say hello to chat, buddy? Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah.
Don't make him barf. I told you, he just ate.
We're getting pretty close to wrapping up. I just wanted to let Oliver say hi before we do. Woo! Woo!
Oh, he sounds tortured.
Yeah.
He's not tortured.
He's not tortured.
He's got a very cushy life.
Good content. Good content.
Okay, stop, buddy.
All right,
It's okay.
I'll let you down.
You're alright. Oh, poor buddy. Poor buddy. It's okay. You're very silly. Oh my god.
Shedding season. Get out of there. Get off my drinks. All right, I think that's time. I gotta get ready for the rest of the evening. It's been real. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Adios. Bye-bye. I'm just lit by the sun. That's crazy. See ya.